Hello, and welcome to the Is It Just Me podcast. I am your host, Dr. Angie Inch. This podcast will entail truthful, transparent conversation about everyday life and the lessons learned. This podcast is for everyone, from teenagers to the elderly. Some topics discussed may be rated R, but every conversation is based on living life and learning life lessons. Today's discussion is going to be on making and keeping friends. When making friends, what qualities do you look for when considering someone a friend? What is the difference between acquaintance and a friend? How did you learn that everyone was not your friend? These are some of the things that we're going to discuss on today's episode. Before we get started, I like to state this disclaimer that I am not an expert, and everything discussed on this podcast is the independent opinion and reality of myself. So let's get into making and keeping friends. In order to be able to consider someone a friend, you have to have done experience certain things with them. And before we even get to things that you experience with your friends to determine that individual is a friend, what are the qualities that you look for in a person when considering someone to be your friend? The qualities that I look for when I'm considering if someone is my friend, are they genuine? Which to me means the friendship is not based on any incentive. You're not looking for something by being friends with me. You're not looking to gain anything by being friends with me. Honesty. You're able to be honest about everything in the friendship, whether I like it, you like it or not. We're able to be honest with one another. Trust. I have to wholeheartedly trust you in order to consider you my friend. Loyalty. I don't want to have to question your loyalty because you're never going to have to question mine. Are you a supportive friend in good, bad, and great times? Respect, mutual respect for one another and the friendship. And the last thing is similarities. We have a lot of things in common. We have shared interests and experiences. These are some of the qualities that, as I've gotten older, that I started to look at in the individuals that I consider my friends. And for the most part, all of the friends I have had for over 10 years, some for 30 years, some for longer than that. With the exception of a couple of individuals that I was a friend to them, they weren't a friend to me. But for the most part, I still am friends with everyone that I have became friends with since I was a young kid. And I feel like that's a good thing to me because it shows some level of longevity because I'm leery of females who don't have long-term childhood friends. Not to say that people don't grow apart because they do. I just say that to say that you don't have any long-term friends. Like all of the friends that you're around are individuals you met within the last 3 to 4 years. What happened to the friends from when you were a child? You didn't have a childhood best friend, certain things like that. And again, I know everyone is not social and everybody doesn't have a whole bunch of friends. And I tell people all the time, I don't have a lot of friends. I know a lot of people, but I don't have a lot of friends. But the friends that I do have are long term friendships. I also have friends that I met as an adult that I consider to be my friends. But again, I still have friends from when I was a kid, also. No, I don't speak to my friends every day. But when we do link and we do speak, it's like we didn't miss any time. So when I say I know a lot of people, I have a lot of acquaintances. So I know the difference between acquaintances and friends. Friends are people we share an intimate relationship with. True friends know everything about each other, their values, their struggles, their goals, their interests, things like that. Acquaintances are individuals who you just might have small talk with, you hang out with them once in a while. They know basic stuff about you, but they don't know you. They don't know like your innermost pet peeves, or they might not know your favorite food or your favorite restaurant or something like that. They just know basic things about you because with an acquaintance, y'all keep it basic. Y'all might speak on the phone from time to time, but it's not a intimate relationship with an acquaintance. Some acquaintances are good people to just have a good time with, to hang out with. Some acquaintances can be fun. However, some acquaintances can also turn into friends, but they don't always start off as friends. They start off as acquaintances. But again, some acquaintances can be fun to be around. So once you get around that individual, you might realize, like, oh, okay, he or she is really a cool person. And we do share a lot of similarities. And we both feel the same about being respectful. And we both feel the same about being honest. And we both feel the same about being supportive and being loyal. And that way, they go from being an acquaintance into being a friend. But in order to make a friend and keep a friend, you have to know the difference between an acquaintance and a friend. Because sometimes individuals, we mix the two up. We might feel like we spoke to someone or we gave them intimate details or something about us, and we might consider them a friend, but they might not consider you a friend. So now you're thinking that this individual is your friend, but all along they're just an acquaintance. So you have to know the difference between acquaintances and friends. And everyone is not your friend. Some people make better acquaintances than they do friends. So be open to understanding that everyone is not your friend. And I learned that early on when I was young, that everyone is not my friend. It was a hard lesson to learn because I'm a very genuine person. And if I'm your friend, I'm your friend. Only one that can fuck up me being your friend is you. I'm not that type of individual that somebody's gonna say, "Oh, I don't like her," and I'm gonna be like, "Oh, well, I don't like her either." No, has nothing to do with me. I base my relationships off of how individuals deal with me. Has nothing to do with what you did to somebody else. So when I was younger, I told the story on one of the episodes. I thought someone was my friend, and she wanted to fight me because I didn't want to ride her sister on my bike. And my mother told me the lesson that everybody is not your friend. You have to know and you have to learn that some people are just good to be acquaintances with. They're good to hang out. They know how to have a good time. They know how to make you laugh. You have a good time with them, but they're not meant to be your friend. So they're not meant to know certain intimate details about you. They're just good to be cordial and have fun with and be an acquaintance. When you have acquaintances and you want to make them your friend, once you start meeting up or y'all hang out or whatever it is that you're doing with this individual, if someone starts displaying red flags and they don't have the characteristics or the qualities that you look for in your friends, it's okay to not let that person be a friend. It's okay for that person to continue to be an acquaintance. It's nothing wrong with that because at the end of the day, it will save you a lot of aggravation and hurt in the long run if you deal with people accordingly and you place them where they belong. Again, that's another lesson that I had to learn the hard way because I was a friend. I'm not going to say to a lot of people because that's like really exaggerating, but I can name three individuals that I was a friend to that wasn't a friend to me. One of those individuals, it took me a long time to realize that individual wasn't my friend. And during the time that I found out, it was very hurtful because, again, I'm a genuine person. So I'm treating you as if you're my friend this whole time when the whole time you really don't even like me. You just pretending as if you're my friend. So we have to learn the difference between an acquaintance and a friend. And we have to also understand and accept that everyone is not your friend. So when you're trying to make and keep friends, these are things that you must think about and realize that it's the reality of it. Now, once you have the friend, y'all have the similar qualities, you're genuine to one another, you're honest to one another, y'all trust one another, y'all have loyalty, y'all supportive, y'all respect one another, y'all have a lot of similarities. Sometimes those friends are not going to be lifelong friends. Everyone has a season. You outgrow some friends. It happens. And it happens because everyone grows at their own pace. And it's okay sometimes to outgrow friendships for whatever reason. Not to say that it was beef and had to be anything negative because people grow apart all the time. It doesn't make it bad. And just because you and your friend of 12 years grew apart, that's just an expired friendship. That doesn't mean that you guys have beef. It's okay for people to grow apart because it happens. It happens all the time. You see couples that have been together for 20 years and all of a sudden they get in a divorce. They grew apart. Sometimes people priorities change, people outlook on life change, things change, and it's okay for you to grow apart. You cannot be friends with someone and it not be beef. It's just that the friendship expired and you guys no longer share those same characteristics or qualities or similarities that you once did because things happen and people change. I always say that with me and friendship, there's not a person who I was a friend to. that can ever say that I crossed them. And some people that I considered a friend wasn't a friend to me. But because they weren't a friend to me, I don't consider us as having beef. I just consider it as the friendship expired. We shared some good times together. We're just not friends anymore. And it's nothing wrong with that. I don't think things could have been worked out because after an individual shows you who they are, you just need to believe them. It's just certain people are just not for you anymore because you've outgrown them and they outgrown you. And there's nothing wrong with that. It happens. It happens in relationships. You outgrow people all the time because everyone grows at their own pace. Again, priorities change. Your similarities might not be aligned anymore. It happens. But in order to keep friends, you and your friend as well have to be friends to one another. Being friends, keeping friends is not a one-way street. It's a two-way street. So in order to keep a friend, your friend has to be a friend to you and you have to be a friend to them. I always say, in order to keep a friend, you have to know how to be a friend. Whatever those characteristics or qualities that you look for in friends, you should also have those same characteristics and qualities also. Because how do you expect your friends to be loyal, but you're not loyal? How do you expect your friend to be respectful, but you're not respectful? So the same characteristics that you look for in your friends, you should also possess. The same characteristics that I look for: genuine, honesty, trust, loyalty, support, respect, similarities. Those are qualities that I possess. So because I possess those qualities, if I consider somebody to be my friend, those are the qualities that I want my friend to have. I don't ever want it to be where I'm being loyal to my friend and my friend is being disloyal to me. That's not a friend. I don't ever want it to be where I'm respecting my friend, but my friend is disrespecting me. That's not going to work. Be the same in your friend's face, the same way that you are behind their back. In order for you to build lifelong friendships and have long, healthy, lasting friendships, you can't be two-faced. You can't be one way in front of your friend while your friend is there and another way when your friend is not there. You can't be team Ange when you're in my face, but then team somebody else when you're not in my face. That's not going to be a friendship, and you're not going to keep somebody as a friend by doing that. In all relationships, there's always going to be disagreement, and friendships as well. Take accountability if you did something wrong. It's okay to apologize because we're not always right. And as you grow up and as you mature, you realize that some things are not intentional. I know, especially with me, I always have something to say and I'm always cracking jokes. And sometimes a joke that I might crack might hurt somebody's feelings. But if you don't tell me that I hurt your feelings, how do I know that I hurt your feelings if you don't say anything? And if you tell me that I hurt your feelings, I'm going to say, I didn't intentionally try to hurt your feelings. My bad. I apologize. I can do that. I can take ownership. I can take accountability. So you need to be able to take accountability and not get defensive with certain things. Also, the way to keep a friend is communication. Don't let issues linger because when you let issues linger, they manifest into bigger things. Be honest and speak up if something is bothering you, or if your friend did something that you didn't like, or if your friend said something that you didn't like. Learn to communicate. We're all adults, and at this day and age, communication and comprehension is key. Nobody's a mind reader. If you don't tell somebody that your feelings were hurt, how does your friend know that they hurt your feelings? If you don't tell your friend something made you upset, how do they know not to do it to make you upset again? Communication and comprehension is definitely a way to make sure that you keep a friend. And also, the way to keep a friend: don't tell your friend's business. If your friend or your friends confided in you about something personal, you should not be telling their business to someone that is not their friend at all. If somebody told you something that was personal, if your friend told you something that was personal, we all have different sets of friends. And I always say one set of friends that don't know the other set of friends should not know each other's business. They just shouldn't. That's just my opinion on it. If we're not all friends and we're not all together and we're not all hanging together and we don't all have a relationship with each other, it's no reason why that individual should know your other friend's business. They just shouldn't. If it's something that you feel like you wanted to discuss it with your friend. Why are you telling your friend's business to someone else that's not your friend? That's the quickest way to not have a friend, to not keep a friend, because something that they confided in you that was so personal to them, you're somewhere repeating it to someone else. And I always say, if it's something that I don't want anyone to know, I won't tell anyone, because that way I know that I can save myself from trying to figure out if the business gets leaked or if my personal information or whatever it is that I told someone, if it gets out, I don't have to figure out who told, because I kept it to myself and I didn't let anybody know. Once certain things leave your mouth and you confide into someone else, be open to that they might share it with someone else. Does it make it right? No. But if it's something that you don't want anyone to know, don't tell nobody. I live by that. If it's something that I don't want somebody to know, I won't say nothing. You can feel how you want to feel about that as a friend. But if your friend is confiding in you and you're telling your friend's business to another friend that's not friends with your friend, I feel like that's an issue. You have to know what to keep under wraps. I'm still holding secrets and I'm still holding people business of individuals that I no longer speak to, because I'm not the type of individual to sit there and badmouth you or to run your business down to somebody else. Because how does that make me look? And what am I getting from that? Like, first of all, I don't really care and it's not that serious. And expired friendship is not beef. But I'm not somewhere putting your business in the street because me and you are no longer friends. I don't like stuff like that. And I feel like that's real whack for individuals that do that. Because if you wasn't telling the business when y'all was friends, why tell the business now that y'all no longer friends and y'all relationship has expired? So that's something that I'm big on. Like, I don't say nothing. I just keep my mouth closed. It's like it is what it is. Your secrets is safe with me, and that's that. But that's the way to keep friends. And that's why the friends that I have had for so long. And my friends will tell you, you can't come to me and talk to me about my friend. It's not happening. We're not having a discussion about my friend. You're somebody that's trying to beef with my friend. And I know how to be a mutual friend to two individuals who don't speak. So they already know. You can't come to me and tell me nothing about my friend at all. I don't want to hear it. Whatever is going on between you and her, that's between you and her. I'm not being a part of it, because it takes two to have a conversation. And 9 times out of 10, things get taken out of context because someone is telling you something about somebody that you consider a friend. I know someone who I consider an acquaintance who's friends with somebody who I'm no longer friends with. And that person that I'm no longer friends with talks about me to that acquaintance. Again, that's not my friend. She's an acquaintance. But that person has no problem with coming back telling me what their friend said. And it's like, I don't even want to know what they said. Because 9 times out of 10, it's a lie. And it's two sides to every story. It's their side and it's my side. My side is the truth because I'm grown and I don't have no reason to lie about a motherfucking thing. And again, I ain't never crossed nobody. So if it's incident or something that occurred between me and somebody, 9 times out of 10, it's something that they did wrong and they don't want to admit or take accountability for their shit. And it's just like, we're no longer friends. It is what it is. But I'm not sitting down talking about you to someone else. If we're discussing something or we're having a conversation and that particular person comes up about that conversation, that's different. But I'm not picking up the phone, calling somebody to talk about an old friend. I'm not doing that. Having healthy friendships can be very beneficial in the long run. But you have to make sure that you are also being a friend to the person who is being a friend to you. I'm going to say that again. Having healthy friendships can be very beneficial in the long run, but you have to make sure you are being a friend to the person who is being a friend to you. Thank you for joining me. Tune in next week when we're going to discuss girl code. What is girl code? What are some of the consequences for breaking girl code? Does girl code apply to all of your friends, or is it individual or for specific individuals? Hope you join me next week on the Is It Just Me podcast.